Picture this. It's 1817, and a quiet American family is about to become the target of what might just be history's deadliest entity.
What started as just some strange, unsettling whispers in the dark quickly escalated into violent physical attacks.
And it didn't stop at just terrifying them. This entity actually claimed a human life, poisoning farmer John Bell right in his own bed.
The paranormal activity was so intense that even future U.S. President Andrew Jackson fled the farm, famously stating he'd rather fight an entire army than face this witch. Fast forward to today, and locals will tell you the spirit never left. They claim it still haunts the famous Bell Witch Cave in Tennessee.
So we have to ask ourselves, what was the true force behind the infamous Bell Witch haunting?
Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're cracking open a historical cold case and investigating America's most documented haunting to find out what really happened out there in the woods. Let's start with Section 1, The Haunting Begins. A quiet Tennessee farm descends into madness. Now you have to understand, this wasn't just a quick scare. It was a brutal, multi-year escalation. We're looking at a timeline that goes from bizarre phantom animals appearing in 1817 all the way to John Bell's calculated assassination in 1820. The sensory details from the historical accounts are just wild. The family endured the sounds of invisible fighting dogs and heavy dragging chains. Young Betsy Bell was specifically targeted with severe physical assaults, leaving her covered in welts. Meanwhile, John Bell started suffering from this terrifying, unexplained paralysis of the mouth.
Which brings us to Section 2. Andrew Jackson meets the witch. A future president faces the paranormal.
This is where the story gets really crazy. In 1819, General Andrew Jackson actually showed up to investigate. But before he even got to the house, his heavy wagon was instantly paralyzed in the muddy road by a completely invisible force, prompting him to shout, "By the eternal boys, that must be the Bell Witch."
And clearly, the witch wasn't intimidated by a military hero. The invisible entity actually proceeded to brutally beat one of Jackson's self-proclaimed witch tamers, literally leading the poor guy out the door by his nose. This terrified Jackson's men so badly that the future president swore he'd rather face the British Army than spend another night there.
Moving on to Section 3, The Murder of John Bell. The entity claims its victim. Let's look at the crime scene. Next to a comatose John Bell, the family found a mysterious vial filled with a dark, unknown liquid. To test it, they gave just 2 drops to the family cat, and it dropped dead instantly.
It gets even stranger. When John's son threw that mysterious vial into the fireplace, it erupted into a blinding blue flame. After John passed away, the entity actually attended his funeral, literally singing rowdy drinking songs until the graveyard was completely empty.
So let's look at the science in Section 4, The Arsenic Theory. Modern forensics meets 19th century folklore.
When you look at this through the lens of modern chemistry, the pieces fit together perfectly. Chemistry professor Dr. Mann pointed out that John's strange mouth paralysis, the historical reports of him having garlic breath, and that bright blue flame in the fireplace, well, those are textbook, undeniable signs of acute arsenic poisoning.
And remember the cat? Here's where it gets fascinating. Felines lack a specific metabolic pathway known as glucuronic acid conjugation. In plain English, that means even the tiniest drop of the common arsenic-based rat poison used in the 1800s would be instantly fatal to a cat. It is a perfect match. Finally, we have Section 5, The Legend Lives On. Fact, fiction, and Hollywood. Over time, this story has really fractured. While historical folklore firmly insists on a supernatural poltergeist, modern pop culture interpretations have a different take. Take the 2005 film An American Haunting, for example. It suggests a tragic psychological twist, implying that a deeply traumatized, abused Betsy actually poisoned her father herself. Also, if you've ever heard of the famous Bell Witch Cave, which is a huge tourist destination today, well, modern researchers like Brian Dunning point out a massive inconsistency. The cave actually played absolutely no role whatsoever in the original, verified historical accounts. It's just a modern addition to the myth. Which leaves us with the ultimate cold case question. Was the Bell family truly haunted by a malevolent paranormal force? Or was this actually the most brilliant, calculated arsenic assassination in American history? I'll leave that for you to decide.